Silent thunder. Captain Darius Wells drummed his fingers against the glossy surface of his command console, studying the anomaly that flickered on the Pathfinder's main view screen. 20 years of deep space exploration had taught him to trust his instincts, and right now those instincts were screaming danger. Dr. Gwyn, analysis? He asked, turning to his chief science officer. Dr. Vivian Gwyn frowned at her readings, her dark eyes reflecting the pulsing blue light of her workstation. It's unlike anything we've encountered before, Captain. Some kind of spatial distortion, but the energy signature is artificial. The ESV Pathfinder represented humanity's boldest venture into the unknown, a scientific vessel designed to push the boundaries of explored space. With Earth's first reliable FTL drive, they had ventured farther than any human crew before them. Could it be a naturally occurring phenomenon? Wells asked, though he already suspected the answer. Negative, replied Lieutenant Rohan Patel from Tactical. The pattern is too regular, too precise. Something or someone created this. A chill ran down Wells' spine. In 30 years of spacefaring, humanity had discovered microbes, plants, and primitive animal life on distant worlds, but never anything approaching intelligence. The possibility of first contact had been theoretical until now. Lieutenant Ortiz, distance to anomaly? 3 million kilometers and closing, sir, responded the navigation officer. We'll be within visual range in 20 minutes at current speed. Wells nodded. Maintain course, but be prepared for immediate withdrawal. All departments on alert status. The bridge crew worked in tense silence as the Pathfinder continued its approach. When they reached visual range, Lieutenant Commander Jasmine Zhao at Communications suddenly straightened in her seat. Captain, I'm detecting a transmission. It's embedded in a frequency we don't typically monitor. Some kind of directed beam. Can you decode it? Working on it. The AI translation matrix is processing, but before she could finish, the view screen flickered and the anomaly vanished, replaced by something far more alarming. A massive vessel materialized where the distortion had been, sleek and predatory, its hull composed of what appeared to be living metal that shifted and rippled like liquid mercury. Tactical assessment, Wells ordered, his voice steady despite the hammering of his heart. The vessel is approximately 4 kilometers in length, Patel reported, his voice tight. Energy signatures off the scale, detecting weapon systems of unknown configuration, but, sir, they could vaporize us with what appears to be point defense systems alone. Captain, Zhao interrupted, the transmission, it's coming through now. The view screen changed again, revealing a creature unlike anything in humanity's experience. Its face was vaguely reptilian, but with an unsettling symmetry for eyes arranged in a diamond pattern, skin that seemed to shift color like the hull of its ship, and a mouth filled with needle-like teeth. Unidentified vessel, the alien spoke, the words translated with unnerving precision. You have entered space claimed by the Noxarian Conclave. Identify your species and purpose or be destroyed. Wells took a deep breath, keenly aware that history pivoted on this moment. This is Captain Darius Wells of the Earth Science vessel Pathfinder. We are on a mission of peaceful exploration and mean no harm. We greet you in friendship. The alien's eyes narrowed, all four simultaneously. Earth. Unknown designation. Species assessment required. There was a pause. Our scans indicate primitive technology and biological vulnerability. You will deactivate your propulsion and weapons systems and prepare for boarding. With respect, Wells replied carefully, our protocols for first contact stipulate neutral meeting grounds and mutual consent before boarding. Perhaps we could establish a communication channel to discuss. You misunderstand, the alien interrupted. This is not a negotiation. The Noxarian Conclave has ruled this sector for 10,000 years. Lesser species serve or perish. You have 30 seconds to comply. Wells glanced at Patel, who shook his head slightly. They had no chance in combat. Dr. Gwyn, he said quietly, initiate Protocol Omega. Lieutenant Ortiz, prepare for emergency jump on my mark. Captain, Zhao said urgently, they're powering weapons. Launch the quantum messenger drone, Wells ordered. Priority alpha transmission with all our data. DR. Nguyen's fingers flew across her console. Drone away, Captain. The tiny device, no larger than a human fist, shot away from the Pathfinder, carrying humanity's only warning of what was coming. It contained a revolutionary communication system that could transmit data virtually instantaneously across vast distances, technology the Pathfinder had been testing. They've targeted the drone. Patel shouted. Evasive maneuvers. Wells commanded. Get us between them and the drone. The Pathfinder lurched as Ortiz executed a desperate turn, placing the human vessel between the Noxarian ship and the fleeing messenger drone. Wells knew what this meant: sacrifice. All hands, this is the captain. Prepare for. The bridge exploded in a blaze of light as the Noxarian weapon struck. The Pathfinder's shields, designed for cosmic radiation and micrometeorite protection, offered no resistance. Hull breaches opened across multiple decks, and emergency klaxons wailed throughout the dying ship. Wells found himself thrown across the bridge, his arm broken and useless. Through the chaos and smoke, he saw the view screen still functioning, showing the Noxarian vessel turning to track the quantum drone. Ortiz, he gasped, emergency jump. Anywhere. Now. With the last reserves of the Pathfinder's power, Lieutenant Ortiz activated the FTL drive. The damaged ship lurched into faster-than-light travel, drawing the Noxarian's attention away from the escaping drone. Ortiz, he gasped, emergency jump. Anywhere. Now. With the last reserves of the Pathfinder's power, Lieutenant Ortiz activated the FTL drive. The damaged ship lurched into faster-than-light travel, drawing the Noxarian's attention away from the escaping drone. As darkness claimed him, Wells could only hope it would be enough. Dr. Imani Okafor stood at the viewport of Luna Base Horizon, Earth's most advanced research facility, gazing at the blue-green jewel that was humanity's home. As the facility's director of quantum physics, she had devoted her career to pushing the boundaries of human understanding. Her reverie was interrupted by the urgent voice of her assistant. Dr. Okafor, something's happening in Lab 7. The quantum receiver just activated on its own. Okafor frowned. The quantum communication system was experimental, linked to the prototype aboard the Pathfinder. It wasn't scheduled for testing today. She rushed to the lab, where technicians surrounded the device with confused expressions. What's coming through? She demanded. Data packets, massive amounts, responded Dr. Lucas Hoffman, her deputy. And a priority message flagged for immediate distribution to Earth Defense Command. Okafor accessed the message, and her blood ran cold as Captain Wells' face appeared on the screen, his expression grim, smoke and sparks visible behind him. This is Captain Darius Wells of the ESV Pathfinder. We have made contact with an advanced alien civilization calling themselves the Noxarian Conclave. They are hostile and technologically superior to anything we have encountered. They have destroyed or captured the Pathfinder, but we believe they tracked our point of origin. Earth has weeks, perhaps days, before they arrive. The message continued, transmitting all the sensor data the Pathfinder had gathered about Noxarian technology. In the last frame, Wells looked directly into the camera, blood trickling from a cut on his forehead. Prepare yourselves. They're coming. Okafor stared at the final image, frozen on the screen. Contact Defense Command, she said quietly. And get me the Secretary General. Humanity just ran out of time. Colonel Hikaru Tanaka stood in Earth Defense Command's war room beneath Mount Fuji, watching as tactical holographic displays tracked the approaching enemy. 72 hours had passed since DR. Okafor delivered the Pathfinder's warning, and humanity's initial panic had given way to desperate resolve. Report, he demanded, his weathered face betraying none of the fear churning inside him. General Nadia Volkov, Earth Defense Forces commander, activated a holographic representation of the solar system. The Noxarian fleet has breached the Kuiper Belt, 23 vessels, all significantly larger than anything in our arsenal. At present speed, they'll reach Earth in 38 hours. Tanaka studied the projection grimly. After 4 decades of military service, he had prepared for countless threats, but never one from beyond the stars. Status of our defenses? Every ship we have is deployed, Volkov replied. The orbital defense grid is at maximum capacity, and we've evacuated critical personnel to hardened underground facilities. But Colonel, she hesitated. Conventional analysis gives us less than a 10% chance of repelling their force. Tanaka nodded. He'd run the simulations himself. Even with the technological insights gleaned from the Pathfinder's data, humanity's weapons were hopelessly outmatched. Then it's fortunate, he said quietly, that we're not relying on conventional means. He turned to the scientist who had been silently observing from the corner. Dr. Okafor, is your team ready? Dr. Imani Okafor stepped forward, shadows under her eyes testament to sleepless nights. Project Phantom is operational, Colonel. The prototypes performed perfectly in trials, But I must emphasize, this technology was intended for scientific research, not warfare. The scale you're proposing is unprecedented. So is extinction, Dr. Tanaka replied. Let's proceed. Deep beneath the lunar surface, in a facility expanded frantically over the past 72 hours, Dr. Okafor stood amidst a forest of quantum displacement engines. Each device, roughly the size of a transport shuttle, hummed with energy that seemed to bend the very fabric of reality around it. The quantum superposition field generators are synchronized, reported Dr. Hoffman, his fingers dancing across control surfaces. All 53 units are responding within parameters. Okafor nodded, pride mingling with trepidation. 3 years earlier, she had discovered that objects could exist in multiple quantum states simultaneously, not just at the subatomic level, but at macroscopic scales. The technology had been developed to revolutionize space travel and exploration. Now, it would determine humanity's survival. Begin the integration sequence with the defense platforms, she ordered. Across Earth orbit, seemingly ordinary satellites and defensive platforms began to shimmer almost imperceptibly as quantum fields enveloped them. To conventional sensors, they appeared unchanged, simple, primitive human technology. In reality, they now existed in 2 states simultaneously, their visible form, and something far more deadly. Her communicator chimed. Dr. Okafor, came Colonel Tanaka's voice. The Noxarians have accelerated. New arrival estimate, 18 hours. Are we ready? Okafor took a deep breath. The quantum field is stable. Earth's defenses now exist in superposition. As long as the enemy doesn't collapse the wave function prematurely, they'll see exactly what we want them to see. And our fleet. Admiral Watson reports all vessels are in position, quantum fields engaged. The trap is set, Colonel. Then all we can do now is wait, Tanaka replied. And hope. Overseer Mirketh stood on the command deck of the Noxarian dreadnought Inevitable Conquest, for eyes fixed on the blue planet growing larger on the view screen. Behind him, 22 warships moved in perfect formation, a fraction of the Conclave's might but more than sufficient to subjugate a primitive world. Report, he commanded, voice resonating with the natural authority of his species. Sub-Overseer Zalvex glided forward, her scaled skin shifting between patterns of royal blue and violet, a mark of her high status. The human homeworld appears minimally defended, Overseer. Our scans detect primitive orbital weapons platforms and a small fleet of vessels with rudimentary faster-than-light capability. Curious, Mirketh mused. The vessel we encountered possessed communication technology that should have been beyond their development stage. What defenses do they mount? Nuclear weapons, primarily, with some rudimentary energy-based systems. Nothing that could penetrate even our secondary shields. Mirketh's mouth formed the Noxarian equivalent of a smile, a predatory bearing of needle-like teeth. Have they attempted communication? Yes, Overseer. They are requesting peaceful dialogue and offering surrender terms. They offer us terms? Mirketh laughed, a harsh sound like grinding metal. The arrogance of primitive species never ceases to amuse. Ignore their transmissions. Prepare the first wave of assault craft. At once, Overseer. The Noxarian fleet moved deeper into the solar system, passing the red planet the humans called Mars. Mirketh felt a momentary pang of disappointment. He had hoped for at least token resistance, something to justify the resources expended on this campaign. Instead, it appeared this would be another routine conquest, another species to be subjugated or exterminated according to the Conclave's needs. Overseer, called the sensor officer. I'm detecting unusual energy fluctuations from the human defenses. Mirketh turned, irritation flickering across his features. Specify. Quantum-level disturbances, localized around their defense platforms and vessels. Possibly a malfunction in their systems. Or a primitive attempt at deception, Mirketh replied dismissively. It matters not. Commence the standard approach. Let them witness our power before we strike. The fleet moved into Earth orbit, dwarfing the human installations that surrounded the planet. On the view screen, Mirketh could see the pitiful human vessels, crude, utilitarian craft that bore the hallmarks of a species just beginning to understand the fundamental principles of space travel. Overseer, Sub-Overseer Zalvex said, they're broadcasting again. Should I put it through? Mirketh interrupted, curious despite himself. Let us hear their pleas. The view screen shifted, revealing a human with features suggesting advanced age by their standards, gray hair, lines etched into dark skin, eyes that held an unexpected steadiness. Noxarian fleet, the human spoke. This is Colonel Hikaru Tanaka of Earth Defense Command. You have entered restricted space with hostile intent. Power down your weapons and withdraw, or we will be forced to defend ourselves. Mirketh couldn't contain his amusement. Your species' audacity is remarkable, human. You face the might of the Noxarian conclave with your primitive technology, yet you speak of defense? I will offer you one opportunity for survival, immediate and unconditional surrender. Your species will serve the conclave, and a portion of your population will be permitted to live. The human's expression remained impassive. We decline your generous offer, Overseer. Humanity chooses a different path. Mirketh's amusement vanished. Then humanity chooses extinction. Target their primary defense installations and fire when ready. The inevitable conquest's weapons charged, followed by the rest of the fleet. Energy built to levels that could vaporize entire cities, ready to demonstrate the folly of resistance. Weapons locked, Overseer, reported the tactical officer. Fire, Mirketh commanded. Energy lanced from the Noxarian vessels, striking Earth's orbital defenses with devastating force, and passing through them as if they weren't there. What? Mirketh snarled, rising from his command throne. Report. The targets, they're gone, the tactical officer exclaimed. No, not gone, changed. Where primitive defense platforms had been moments before, advanced weapon systems now materialized, seemingly from nothing. The human fleet likewise transformed, crude vessels giving way to sleek warships bristling with technology that, while still inferior to Noxarian standards, far exceeded previous scans. Impossible, Sub-Overseer Zalvex hissed. Our sensors. We're deceived, Mirketh realized with dawning horror. Some form of quantum superposition technology. They collapsed the wave function when we fired. On the view screen, Colonel Tanaka's face reappeared. As you can see, Overseer, humanity's path is neither surrender nor extinction. We've studied the data from our encounter with your kind. We know your shields operate on principles that make them vulnerable to quantum-phased weapons. As if to demonstrate his point, the transformed human defenses fired in perfect synchronization. Beams of energy that seemed to exist in multiple states simultaneously struck the Noxarian vessels, bypassing shields designed to repel conventional attacks. Alarms blared across the inevitable conquest as systems failed and hull breaches opened. Return fire. Mirketh roared. Launch all assault craft. The Noxarian fleet responded with devastating force, their weapons tearing through space. Several human platforms exploded under the barrage, and 2 of their vessels were cleaved in half by energy beams. But the humans' trap had been well laid. From the lunar surface, massive cannons previously hidden in quantum superposition revealed themselves, firing projectiles that phased between states of matter, rendering them nearly impossible to track or intercept. 3 vessels lost, Overseer, reported the tactical officer, panic evident in his voice. 2 more heavily damaged. Mirketh struggled to comprehend what was happening. This primitive species, barely able to travel beyond their own system, had somehow developed technology that challenged fundamental Noxarian advantages. It was unprecedented and deeply concerning. Overseer, Sub-Overseer Zalvex urged, we should withdraw and reassess. This technology, the conclave must be informed. Pride warred with pragmatism in Mirketh's mind. Retreat was shameful, but extinction served no one. Prepare for tactical withdrawal, he ordered finally. All vessels, concentrate fire on their lunar facility. That appears to be the source of their quantum technology. The remaining Noxarian ships turned their weapons toward the moon, unleashing a barrage that cratered the surface. Deep below, in the quantum displacement facility, Dr. Okafor felt the ground shake as sections of the base collapsed. They've identified our position, she told Colonel Tanaka through the emergency channel. The lunar facility won't hold much longer, but the orbital platforms can maintain quantum cohesion independently now. Understood, Doctor, Tanaka replied. Evacuation shuttles are en route. Your work has given us a fighting chance. Humanity won't forget. Above Earth, the battle raged with increasing desperation. The Noxarian fleet, still technologically superior despite their surprise, inflicted heavy damage on human defenses. Yet for every platform destroyed, every ship lost, they paid in kind. Aboard the inevitable conquest, now vending atmosphere from multiple breaches, Mirketh gave the final order. All vessels, execute emergency jump. Retreat coordinates Alpha 7. As the surviving Noxarian ships vanished into faster-than-light travel, a ragged cheer went up in Earth Defense Command. They had driven off the invaders at terrible cost, but they had survived. Colonel Tanaka didn't join the celebration. He knew this wasn't the end, merely the opening move in a game that would determine humanity's future. The Noxarians would return, and in greater numbers. But humanity had shown it would not be easily conquered. The Quantum Gambit had bought them time to develop, to prepare, to unite as never before. And perhaps, Tanaka thought as he gazed at the view screen showing the retreating enemy, time to take the fight to the stars themselves.